Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here is the new 2024 Hyundai Sonata, and this is the N-Line trim. So we'll look at some of the cool exterior features, some of the stuff inside, and see if this might just be the perfect vehicle for you. Okay, so now we're behind the wheel of the 24 Sonata N-Line. There's a lot of pretty cool stuff in here. Let's start with my cell phone. So we've always got our phones with us, it seems like nowadays. So this is gonna have wireless charging, as well as a couple of USB-C chargers down here, and then just the little 12-volt plug. But basically, once the wireless charging is on, I'm gonna have wireless Apple CarPlay. I've already programmed my phone into here, so I've got my Google Maps, Spotify, I can do all my text messaging, you can find restaurants in here. There's a lot of pretty cool stuff that makes it very easy to keep your attention focused on the road and not messing with your phone. Now, this also is going to have built-in navigation, so there's a lot of good stuff, but we'll dig into that in just a little bit. So let's click it into drive here, go for a spin around. Now what Hyundai has done, they've gone to a shift-by-wire system. So you no longer have the gear selector down here. It's up behind the steering wheel. You just click it forward for drive, click it down for reverse, and then one tap on the end, and that's gonna put it into park. So the Sonata almost seems like kind of the last of a dying breed, where people are moving away from sedans to get into crossover SUVs. But there's a lot of good stuff with this vehicle. Maybe you're not hauling a bunch of stuff around, or you don't need the extra ground clearance. I mean, this is gonna get 32 miles per gallon on the highway, and it has 290 horsepower. So this has the 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, and that's paired to a wet 8-speed dual clutch. So that is a pretty racy transmission for a day-to-day cruiser. But there's a lot of good to be had by using that. It shifts basically seamlessly. You don't even feel the transmission really when you're on the go, especially when you're kind of getting after it a little bit with the turbo. It is very smooth out on the road. But that 2.5 turbocharged engine, now this N-Line is the front wheel drive. So some of the Sonatas are available with an all-wheel drive system. This one is unfortunately only available with the front wheel drive. But the N-Line does add some pretty cool stuff. So as far as the exterior is concerned, this one is going to have a different front fascia. So the grille, you'll notice, is a little bit different. The onyx black with the kind of silver accents looks pretty cool. And then out back, the N-Line also gets the dual exhaust. Plus, there's kind of like a little ducktail sort of spoiler on the back, and then it also will have a different rear fascia compared to the regular Sonata. But now that we merge out on the road here, I mean, if I put my foot down, that turbo kicks in almost instantly. It's at like 26 or 2700 RPMs. You get that boost, and it is so much fun to drive. I mean, still you are gonna get 32 mpg on the highway, but if you're putting your foot into it like that, I think I would have a problem getting that kind of fuel economy, because it is a lot of fun and it does sound pretty good. So one thing that's pretty cool, if you go into the Hyundai setup here, you can actually go through the vehicle and you can change the amount of sound that comes out. So there's active sound design. So you can do moderate or a large change, and that kind of perceives more engine noise, which sounds goofy, but it's something that's efficient and looks cool. You want a little bit extra sound kicked in, or you can just turn that off. But when I put my foot down, it does make a little bit more noise inside the cabin when you turn that on, which is pretty cool. But a few other things on the exterior. This one, when the N-Line, will have a different designed wheel, which that 5-spoke does look pretty good with the black and the silver mixed in, especially with the black paint on this one. But other than that, the LED headlights, so for 24, Hyundai made a few changes in that the emblems on the grille, it's now a flat emblem. It doesn't stick up off the hood anymore, and this one does get the LED light bar that runs around the nose of the vehicle. When you kick the lights on and you come up to it at night, it does look pretty sweet. And then on the side, they don't have the mirror indicators anymore on the side view mirrors. It's moved down to where the N-Line badging is. So when you kick that blinker on, it's kind of like a little bar, and it does look a little bit more like a German luxury sedan, which does add some pretty cool design language. Now, inside, there's two 12.3-inch displays. The one, like I said, is going to have my Apple CarPlay, or you can do Android Auto. And like I mentioned, you do have built-in navigation. That system is lightning fast in here. It's basically like using a tablet. It's easy, it's responsive, and there is voice controls. So you can click those and pretty much tell the car to do whatever you need it to do, so your attention is on the road ahead. Then on the other side, our 12.3-inch digital cluster has all your pertinent information. Trip computer, tire pressure, your adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring this vehicle will have. Some of that stuff you can control up here as well with just a few clicks on the steering wheel. Now this one will also get paddle shifters behind the wheel, so you can kick it down a couple gears. It's got the large display up here. You hear it kind of rev up, and you can put your foot down and go. So how is the ride and drive? It's fun. Like I said, when you do put your foot down, 290 horsepower is more than enough to get you in and out of traffic and to still enjoy your commute. I mean, that's not a slouching amount of horsepower. This isn't a super heavy car like an SUV or anything, so it sounds cool and it goes. If you're spending 95% of your time in this car and you want something that's more fun to drive versus the regular or just the standard Sonata, I think you gotta go for the turbo engine. Not only does it sound cool, but that get up and go is kind of addictive. But besides that, it's really quiet in here. If you can keep your foot out of it, you're just cruising along. I mean, at 45 miles an hour, I see my safety settings up here shows that that little SUV was coming up behind me. So there's lots of good equipment to keep you safe on the road, and the Apple CarPlay in here is great, and these seats are super comfortable. So the N-Line does get a little bit of a sportier seat. It's kind of an Alcantara or suede insert into the leatherette. It's got some of the red stitching that runs through the vehicle, and then that red line on the dash. So it is noticeably sportier in here, but you're not sacrificing the sportiness of a ride like you get in most standard sports cars. I think with the tires, they did give you a little bit more sidewall. They didn't go with a super skinny one, so that ride doesn't suffer as much on the pothole-laden roads. Now, one other thing in here that's pretty cool, this one does get the panoramic sunroof up above, so you can kick that open. It does make a pretty big difference, especially with the darker interior. If you've got the kids in the back or rear passengers, they're definitely going to thank you for that, but it does make a pretty big difference once you kick that open. Now let's merge out into traffic here a little. It's almost laughable how much fun that is. It's enough to maybe get you into a little bit of trouble and still have fun, but like I said, day to day, it's usable power, it's fun power, and it kind of just does everything right. I think if you don't need the huge SUV, I mean, there's still a good amount of room in that second row. There's USB-C charging back there. I mean, at 6'1" where I'm driving comfortably, if I get behind myself there, I mean, there's plenty of room for me, and I think you could put 4 or 5 adults in here pretty comfortably, and I think everybody's gonna have a good time when you're on the road. Now, one of the other things that's pretty cool down here, there's a few buttons, there's some drive modes. So the sport mode, you instantly change the gauge cluster here and the little sport mode pops up on the side. So that is gonna give you a little bit better throttle response. And you can hear, you're getting a little bit more noise out of the vehicle as well, and then you can also program a My Drive to set up the way you'd like that to be. But the other buttons down here for the auto hold, so if you come up to a stoplight, you can just click that and the vehicle won't roll without your foot on the brake. And then the last one is the backup camera. So when you're stopped or going slow, you can click that little camera button, and that's gonna pull up a full backup camera on here. So obviously when you click the vehicle into reverse, that will pull up the backup camera as well. There's also parking sensors on this one, so that would display on your digital cluster, and then the backup camera can be the full 12.3-inch display, and it's very clear. It makes it very easy to park. So it's got the pedals down below that are in silver, kind of that aluminum finish, which is a little bit sportier to the N-Line, and the Bose sound system in here. It sounds pretty awesome. When I had the music going earlier, there's tons of bass. It does really make a difference over the standard system. Not that that one's bad, but the Bose one is a pretty good upgrade and worth the price itself. So let's talk about the price of this vehicle. Now the MSRP is gonna be right around that $36,000 range. So you're competing with a lot of vehicles in this segment, obviously. Hyundai wanted to make sure that if you're looking at maybe the Subaru, the Toyota, the Honda, it's all gonna be in that same ballpark, but this sportiness is a lot of fun out of this one. Now, yes, you can drop down to the base model and save, you know, a little bit of money there if you don't want all this cool equipment and all this good stuff, but I think if you want fun on your day-to-day commute, you want a lot of luxury equipment like the heated seats that are in this one, the panoramic sunroof. I mean, I think it's a worthy upgrade to jump up to the N-Line just because how it looks on the outside is really cool as well. But I mean, overall, if, like I said, you want to get great fuel economy but still have fun, if you want Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and good looks on the outside, I think you gotta get out and take the Sonata for a spin and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look at the new Sonata and a spin around. Now if you'd like to take a drive for yourself or learn more information, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our Hyundai locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.